pay attention to what the appetite is to take on a $49-50 million cap hit for a good player. That is a big number. I would say never on anybody when we talk about trades. Anything can happen in this world. But we are talking about Ja Morant right now. The schedule is going to play a big role as far as what happens with Memphis here. They're 3-6. They've got Dallas, who's another story to be told. On Friday, they've got OKC, they've got New York, they've got Boston. I think they've got Cleveland on the road, they got San Antonio on the road. We could be talking in 10 days from now, and they might be 3-12 and completely out of the Western Conference. And then I think your mindset has to shift. I think the biggest thing you have to figure out if you're internally is Ja Morant still the face of your organization on and off the court? If he's not, you're still in that holding pattern until teams are evaluating their rosters. You might want to do something, but the other teams are saying, wait a minute, I don't know who we are yet. So pump the brakes as far as when we're talking about from a Ja Morant type trade. The other thing too is he's also, when we get into the summer, he's extension eligible for 178 next summer. The other thing too is that when we're talking about it, the point guard position is a position of strength in the NBA. A lot of teams have a lot of good guards and are not willing to part with their guards. You can go down the pecking order of teams in need of a point guard who don't need a point guard. Two teams that do, when you're looking at Minnesota more for the future, and Phoenix don't have draft picks to trade. So that certainly is a hindrance there. I have heard Houston being mentioned. Houston was asked, was Kevin Nagandi on SportsCenter asked me about Houston. I know Perk has talked about Houston. I don't see Houston as a fit. Remove the apron issues where basically they can't take back more money. They're a team that is playing good basketball even without Fred VanVleet. They're number one in offensive efficiency. They're 5-2. You would basically have to trade VanVleet in a combination of Adams, Capella, Finney-Smith, basically to get you to $41 million. I don't see that. And the big reason why is because Tari Eason is a restricted free agent this summer. And then next summer, you have to extend Amen Thompson, probably to a max contract. To take on a $40 million, 39, 42, 44 in that range, you have to be aware of what else is on your books. And when you have Durant and Şengün and eventually Thompson, the numbers start to add up here. You do have the draft compensation. I've heard Miami as a destination. I don't see that making sense either. I think when Tyler Hero comes back, he's going to play primarily point guard, certainly with Norman Powell. And then you've got Davion Mitchell as backup. I don't see Miami as a fit for a lot of reasons. Their current, I think he's on as a consultant. Noah LaRoche was in Memphis with Morant. I don't see that as an appealing destination. A lot of teams I've talked to have floated Sacramento as a wild card, and I think why not? Sacramento's got all their draft picks. They've got some picks still from the De'Aaron Fox trade. They've got contracts to move. They've got a new GM in Scott Perry. It's hard for me to think that Scott's first big move is trading for Ja Morant. I don't know how that fits the identity of this Sacramento team who's still trying to figure out who exactly they are. But that is it on a Ja Morant video. Brooklyn is another team I've heard about. I don't see Brooklyn as a destination for Ja Morant, but that's why we're showing it. There is a process of elimination here. When you go through all 29 teams, you basically eliminate them, and then it's a small amount here. I did have one team say, we asked about what a return would look like if Morant was ever traded. And I did have one team say, well, it's probably similar to what Brooklyn got for Kyrie Irving back in 2023 when Kyrie had been suspended. He was a distressed asset. Dallas bought low at the time, Finney-Smith and Dinwiddie, 2029 first and 2 seconds. I said, pump the brakes a little bit there too, because remember, Kyrie was 31 at the time, Ja's 26. And say what you want about Ja as far as on the court, as how he's played and his availability, there is a difference there. And Ja has 2 more years. Kyrie is going to be a free agent. I would pay attention to the Ja Morant situation move as we go over the next couple weeks. But as I said, it's hard for me to see Memphis moving off him right now. It's hard for me, teams engaging in Memphis. I think you're kind of watching how he plays because, as I talked about earlier, we are still in this evaluation period of teams figuring out who their roster is.